Guys, help me welcome my husband, Albert Preciado.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. First of all, I am humbled to have all of you here. It's a Saturday, and everything that I do, first off, I want you all to know that everything that I do comes from my heart and is for all of you, every single one of you. My mission is to help all of you reach the same level of success that I've reached, which, like Syl said, we're just getting started, but that's my whole purpose of doing everything that I do. For those of you that know me well, I'm the most simple guy. So I'm not, a lot of the stuff that I do with the Ferraris, with the life, we obviously love our lifestyle, but all of that is marketing. And marketing will take your careers to a whole different level. And that's why we have Ty here talking about marketing later on. But I'll get into that later. First, I want to start with my story of how it all started with my dad. Where's my dad? Pa? Ma? Mama? So please, those are my parents. And my parents came from Mexico when they were 30. And they came looking for a better future. They didn't know what to expect, I'm sure. But I was born and my brother came along. My brother Omar. Where's Omar? That's my brother OP. And some people don't really like me to talk about these things, but I'm not going to get too much into the details. But growing up, I grew up in Echo Park, downtown LA. I don't know how many of you know downtown LA, Echo Park. It was a rougher area, though, outside of Echo Park, getting closer to LA. So we had shootings. There was drug dealers going on outside. I remember a few times. It didn't happen that much, but where we had shootings and I had to duck under the couch, and we all did that. And my mom and my dad, it was more my mom, thought about, why don't we just send Albert to Granada Hills so they could go to school over there because it's a better area. And so that was my story of me taking the school bus from the age of 6 all the way through high school. And I didn't like it, but I had to get courage like that because I had no option. So it forced me into having courage. So before that, my dad used to take me to paint because he was a painter in Beverly Hills. He still paints. And I would always want to help. I would always want to be busy, I was really hyper. I would run everywhere. I wouldn't walk. And I told my dad, I begged him, please, I want to go work. I want to do something. As a kid, you want to work. You want to be productive. Italia's right there, but kids, they want to work. They want to be helpful. When you take away their ability to give, that's when kids start being insecure. They start losing all their power that they're born with. So my dad took me with him to paint. And I remember I didn't really know how to paint, but I was just kind of like messing everything for up more than helping. But I did it, and I felt good. So that's how it all started. And I remember a story when we were at a house in Beverly Hills on Alpine Street. And I'm sure my dad remembers that. But I was helping him paint, and I saw a red Ferrari, same one as this one, but 5 generations before this one. And I told my dad, hey, Dad, that's a red car. I love that car. And I told my dad, how come we don't have that car? How come we don't get it? And my dad just kind of laughed it off, and, he just knew it was kind of hard. He said, it's kind of not for us, son. And that's because that's how a lot of us grow up thinking that we have limitations. And I'm here to tell you to fuck limitations. So I made a promise to my father at 6 that I was going to get one and that I was going to be really successful because I love helping people. I really like it. I was really inspired today by listening to my wife, Sylvia. Didn't she kill it? So after that, I get to elementary school, Granada Hills. 97% of the population is white. I don't speak a word. I mean, I knew a few bad words in English, but my parents taught me Spanish first. Even though I was born here, it was all Spanish. So I get there, and I'm like, where am I? Like, I don't understand anything. I cried the whole way, all the way to Granada Hills. And when I get there, everybody starts making fun of me. So they put me on special ed because they think I need some help. They think I'm not, they don't think it was me not understanding, but I wasn't really special ed. I just didn't understand English. So after that, they transferred me to ESL. For those of you that, I'm sure you guys know English as a second language. So I end up in ESL. Middle school comes, and kids call me wetback, beaner. They tell me things like, go back to Mexico. And obviously I didn't go back to Mexico. I'm here. So now when I travel to Mexico to go on vacation and to enjoy it. But in high school, I was really skinny, like a Victoria's Secret model skinny. So that doesn't look good on guys. Like bone skinny. My mom and my dad could remember that. And I was really pale, like white, like Casper. And I didn't like it. And skinny, white, like pale. And then I had pimples. My face would get really red. And now I still blush a little bit, but now I have a little bit of color, so it kind of looks better. So I was really insecure. I couldn't land a girl if my life depended on it. And I hated that because I had crushes. Like, I always loved a woman. And I couldn't get any because I was just so, more than ugly, I was really insecure. And insecurity is what kills all your dreams. Insecurity is what takes away your courage that you're born with. And I graduated from high school, not on stage. I had a 1.8 GPA. So all growing up, it was really tough on me. But one thing that I remember is that I told my dad that I was going to get that red Ferrari and I was going to be successful. So I knew I couldn't quit. And I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. So after high school, I started college. So I said, you know what, I'm going to fix this. So somebody told me, hey, Albert, if you go to the beach and get into the salt water and you burn your face with the sun, your face is going to get better, your skin, because I had a lot of pimples. They used to call me pizza face. So the salt water and, the sun, I guess, really worked. And my skin got better. I started taking creatine for those of you that lift weights. I built some muscle, so I started building some mass. And I would go to the beach, and I was really shy and insecure. So what I did is I would get some Absolute vodka. I don't know if you guys, some of you like vodka. So me and my buddy, Johnny, who's not here, we would buy the Absolute vodka, the big fat bottle, because it's only $25 at the time, and that would last us like all week. So we would put it in a water bottle, go to the beach. And by then I had a little bit of muscle, I had a little bit of color, good skin, and that Absolute drink would give me courage to go talk to the girls. So that's when I started getting my confidence, building it back up. And I started to have some hits with girls, and everything started working out. And I said, you know what? It wasn't that hard. So that's how I started building everything. And then I got into the mortgage business because college, I failed in everything that I tried to study. First, I wanted to be a computer technician. I don't know why, but I wanted to be a computer technician. That was like one of my goals. That didn't work out, so then I wanted to be a trainer. So I wanted to actually be like Tim Grover. I wanted to train Kobe and Jordan, since I had a dream to play for the Lakers, and that didn't work out. I wanted to train my idols, which was Kobe. Kobe Bryant is one of my idols. Have you guys ever seen Kobe's face overtime, the fourth quarter, when he has that killer face? When you see him, you just see that look? That's the look that I have for the rest of my life. So 2008 came. I got into the mortgage business because I tried real estate for a month, and I left it because I didn't like carrying open house signs. I didn't like getting sweaty and being like running around in houses and showing homes. I didn't like that. So somebody told me, mortgage, you could do the same thing. You're in the office and you sell mortgages. You help people get financed. And you're in the air conditioner, you don't have to carry signs. So I said, cool, that's good. And I have the license already. So I got into mortgages. And what pushed me to mortgages is because I always had a dream when I was a little boy. And my parents were looking for a house in Burbank. So sorry for that noise, but I'm just going to go through it. Like, there's a lot of obstacles. When things try to happen, you just ignore them and just keep going forward. So my parents wanted to buy a house in Burbank. And I remember offer after offer. They saved about $30,000 to buy a house. And the reason why they didn't get a house was because they had bad realtors and bad mortgage people. They qualified for a loan because back then in Burbank, properties were $90,000, $100,000. Right now, they're over $1 million. They would have been millionaires by now if they would have bought just that house. So they never did it because nobody guided them the right way. That's what we do with the mortgage guys. We actually coach our clients. We tell them how they could improve their lives, how they could build wealth through real estate. I didn't learn that until I met Grant Cardone, who taught me apartments. So I always grew with pain, like failure after failure after failure after failure. So when I got into the mortgage business, I started working earlier than everybody, and I left after everybody. I did whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, I did that. So when I would get tired around 6-ish, because I was there all day making cold calls. I cold call all day, like 500 calls a day, nonstop. People would tell me a lot of bad things, hang up on me, and then when I got to the 6 p.m. mark, I was a little tired. So I did my same trick. I'm not saying you guys have to drink Absolute, and I'm not promoting Absolute, but I didn't have any money, and I got hungry, and I needed energy. Even though I was young, I was 21 making cold calls, and I ate pizza, for those of you that are in the real estate business, you know title reps bring food. They bring like pizzas and sodas. So all I needed was an Absolute bottle because I could munch on the pizzas and I could munch on the cookies or whatever they brought. And they brought soda, so I could just put a splash of vodka and I could keep cold calling. I would be a better cold caller when I had some Absolute. So that's how I got my first month. I closed 4 deals and got a check for $16,000. I was 20 years old. And I never seen a check of $16,000 because before that, I tried being a teacher assistant. I mean, I didn't try. I was a teacher assistant. And the teacher also told me that, hey, stop reading the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. Start reading all those stupid books. You'll get nowhere. They're scams, just like all this. Like, this is a scam, obviously, right? It's bullshit. The reason why I'm here on this stage is because I used to be a guy that used to sit in the back. And I believed that self-improvement could change your life. So I told when the teacher told me that and kind of made me feel bad, I got pissed and I quit that job. I didn't want to be a teacher assistant. I didn't want to be like her. So I got into the mortgage business. First time I see a check for 16 grand, I'm used to making $9 an hour. And I was like, wow. And I just kept the momentum. And I did really good. 21, I was 21, 22, I was making $240,000 a year selling mortgages. And that's when I got into I turned 23, 24, and I got into bad habits. And like Tim Grover said, bad habits, bad environments. I made bad choices, and I lost it. I started hanging around with the wrong people that had bad habits. And I don't have to get into all those details. I'm sure you guys know, but you know, parties, drinking, girls, all that crap. And I lost everything. And that's when I told you about the Ford Explorer story, where I lost everything. And I was going out with so many girls and all that, and it was just a waste of time. And when I lost everything, it was my moment of reflection when I thought, the only girl that I want to save right now, the only girl that I need, I don't care if I'm broke, I just want Syl. And luckily when I called her, I was nervous because I thought she was going to say like, fuck you, like, I don't want to be with you anymore, you're like, whatever. And she accepted, and she stayed with me in the tough times, and they were really tough. Like, we couldn't afford a gym membership, we couldn't afford food sometimes, and we would just park in random neighborhoods, and sometimes we would stay in nice neighborhoods. Remember some of those big homes that we would sneak into? And hey, we just fought through, and that's the number one of the top advices I could give you: never quit, because a quitter one time is a quitter for life. So a lot of people got out of the mortgage business and the real estate business. And going from 240K to 60K, it was a big difference. But I decided to stick with it and just fight through it. And I didn't give up. Obviously, with 60K, when I'm used to 240, I lost everything. My 2 single families got foreclosed. My car got repossessed. I had an S550 Mercedes when they just came out because I followed Entourage. So I don't know if you guys like Entourage. So this S550 came out on the show, and I said, you know what? That was the first S550 model. So I said, I'm going to get that car. I got the S550 and got repossessed, and, I lost everything. She stayed with me. So I withstood the storm. I would work from Starbucks, carry my laptop. I had a laptop and a cell phone. That's all I could afford at the time. And I got back up. Next year, I got up to 80, then 100, and then I was back to 200, 300. So when I got up to 300,000, I got stuck again. And I just remember, life is like this. Life goes around in circles, but I understand everything that I do, I envision it before I do it. So I feel like I've been on stage before. Like it's weird, but I've been in this stage multiple times before. But I just visualize it. Whatever I visualize happens. It's funny. We'll play that video in a bit, Johnny, but I told Syl around 8 months ago, or almost a year, I said, you know what? Because Syl's a little bit more conservative, and she doesn't like all the crazy things that I do. And I kind of forced her to speak on stage today, but she took a big step forward today. I'm really proud of her. I can't forget that. So I told her about 8 months ago, you know what? Stop worrying about baby shit. We're going to be in Grant's jet having fancy champagne with him and being buddies with Elena and him and all that. I told him 8 months ago, and it happened a couple days ago. And it's because I visualized it. And let me tell you something. I wasn't even impressed. And not because I'm cocky or arrogant, but it's because whenever I achieve a goal, I immediately aim for a bigger one. After this, I'm going to shoot for something like way better and way bigger. When I had all the speakers, there's a reason why we have Patrick, because he taught me business. That's how I started 4 businesses, and they're all 7 figures. And it's because of Pat. He taught me systems and procedures and how to run operations. Like every business is successful. Brad taught me training, how important it is to train people, because when you have an army that's huge, you can't train everybody one by one. Grant, obviously, the first person that I met that started helping me, and he taught me apartments, how to invest in multi-units, how to create wealth, how to make money when you sleep, how to make money when you travel, and sales expert. Ty is the newest guy because he's teaching me how to market. That's why I have this thing and that thing. So it's really important to market. The more people you reach, the more people you could help, which equates to the more money you make. You don't even have to worry about money if you help millions of people. And Tim's story is, I think Tim's story is where's Tim's story? I think Tim's story is God. Like when I see him like he's floating and just throwing a lot of like good vibes everywhere. And sometimes when you, all of us are different. Tim Grover, the mindset. The mindset is a lot of us have it, but a lot of us don't. And sometimes when life hits you hard, you need mindset. You need somebody to wake you up and tell you, you know what? Just get back up. Maybe you just have to give it another shot. And sometimes people quit when all they needed was one more shot. That's why we have Tim Grover and Tim's story. And you can't leave the most important reason why all of us are here, and the most important reason why I am wherever I am is because of women. So I want everybody to give a big hand to all the women here. If it weren't for my mom, I wouldn't be here. If it weren't for Syl, Italia wouldn't be here. If it weren't for Italia, I wouldn't be as happy as I am. You know, that's why we have Elena Cardone and Syl, because I think it's really important for some of the women to hear it from inspirational women that have succeeded. And like, she has to deal with me. I'm not an easy person to deal with. And I know Grant's really hard to deal with. So you guys need to hear and kind of listen, because a lot of people ask for advice, but when you don't listen, like when people ask me for advice and I have to say it a third time, I stop talking to those people. I start making eye contact, because life is too short to be trying to help people that ask you the same questions 10 times. So when right now we are, I mean, you guys probably know where we are, but like I started investing with a 3-unit property, then still got a 4-unit property, then we built properties. We started with the mortgage guys, then we opened Ambiance Realty, and then the third company was Driven Enterprises. The fourth one is Preciado, the Preciado acquisitions. So the newest one is Driven Enterprises. So when I came back from the 10X GrowthCon, I thought, you know what, I want to have my own conference, like I said in the beginning, and that was my vision. And right now, we have Driven Enterprises, which offers masterminds, coaching, the VT system with Bradley. We're doing, the mastermind's going to be at the Montage. I could talk about that later, but we're doing the Driven events. So that's the fourth company out of the four that I said. So we don't own a house. We rent where we live. So we pay a high rent. But we own apartments, and apartments pay for all our bills. We live off passive income. We don't have to work if we don't want to work anymore, because money is, I'm never worried about money, because money just comes. Money comes from passively from different sources. And that's the best thing that all of you could do. When you have your business, it's your vehicle to make money. But once you get that money, why not get apartments that are going to just pay you for the rest of your life, and the tenants are going to pay down the mortgage. Properties go double in price every 10 years. Properties give you money every month that could pay for your rent where you live. Why do I rent? Because I want to move. If I get a $1 billion opportunity in the UK, I'll leave. I'll stop paying the rent. I don't care. You can't stop paying your single family mortgage, because then you know what happens. But that's why we rent. And I like having the view. So that's why we have a high rise, because I like waking up and looking at the world. Like I love that feeling. I wake up anywhere from 3 to 5, and I go to sleep by 10. I mean, sometimes we go longer, like the last 2 weeks. I've been averaging 4 hours of sleep. That's why I look like shit. And but I've been focused, you know? When people say, are you nervous, Albert? Not one bit. Why? Because I'm living a dream, and because I already did this before. And you know what? I don't prepare for my speeches. I told you, I speak from my heart. And it's something that I've been preparing since I was 6 years old, and I made that promise to my dad that I was going to get somewhere. And once you get started, you just never stop. And I want to show you a video of what 4 years could make. You guys have it? I've been doing real estate for 10 years. Yeah. Your books that pushed me to open up my own company. So I got my broker's license, opened my real estate broker mortgage company. First time that I hit 300,000 for the year, for this year.
He's got a big watch. He's got
300K.
So now
300K, baby. That's big money, man.
Now I'm thinking about taking it to the next level, 500K to $1 million.
Yeah.
For a yearly income.
Yeah.
So I asked you how I could do it. It's basically a two-man team, me.
What did I tell you? You need to build an army, and you know what keeps people from building armies? Money. You can't win a war without an army. I don't care how good you are, okay? A lone assassin is a lone assassin. I'm driving Albert's car.
He's a crazy dude, huh?
I mean, do you know Albert the way I know Albert? Watch this. Watch this.
So that was 2014. I traveled to Cancun, and I was only making 300K, and I couldn't figure out how to make more money. I was capped because I was scared to hire people. I was scared, and I only had Syl. She was my first employee, my first assistant, and now she's my wife and mother of my child. But I didn't have anybody because I was scared. I thought, hey, if you own your own business, because that's when I opened the business, but I worked from home, and I didn't have employees because I figured, hey, if I make all the commission and I don't have employees, then I'll keep everything. So that means I'll make more money. I was wrong. So the moment I started, when I got a mentor who was a millionaire, he told me, hey, do this and do this. So he helped me get to 300K. So a millionaire, he'll help you get to 300K, but not over $1 million. So then when I started listening to people like Grant, people like Brad, people like Patrick, people like, Tim Grove, everybody that's speaking is speaking because I handpicked them because they changed my life, and I want them to do the same for all of you. And I started hiring. So I hired a person, and I was scared because I hired a wrong person before that used to, have drinks and lunch and stuff like that. So in the morning, this person was really nice to me. But after lunch, this person would talk back to me, and I was trying to, why does this person get courage after 12? It was because lunchtime meant happy lunch or happy hour. And I was scared to hire somebody. So I hired a person, which my first hire, she's probably here, it's Monique. Is Monique here? Where's Monique? That's Monique right there. So she was my first hire, and I stole her from an escrow company. So I saw talent because she used to do my escrows, and I said, she could be like my mortgage assistant or my mortgage I just had an idea, and I always come up with all these weird ideas, and Syl's always like, but now she's always trusting my ideas. She's like, okay, let's do it. And so Monique required a high price tag. She was not like a $2,000 a month assistant. So I had to fork out some money, and I was scared, like, what if I have to pay $5,000 a month? Damn. So I was focused on the $5,000 a month that I needed to pay, but I wasn't focused on this could make me an extra $50K. So it's a $45K net. And it took me to hear it from Grant to go home and be like, you know what, let's just take a risk. What if I can't pay the bills and I can't pay the bills, and we'll just tell Monique, hey, we can't pay anymore, you go back to escrow. So we got her, and things started like kind of slow and then I was getting kind of discouraged, like, did I do the right thing? And it's because when you hire somebody, it's not gonna work right away. You gotta train the person, you gotta give it some time. Like when you start a radio show, you're not gonna get results the first month, the first 2 months. You gotta give it, it's a process. It's just like when you go out in the club, like you don't take the girl like the same night. I mean, sometimes, but it's a process. You gotta date somebody, you gotta get to know the person and all that. So I started just hiring people after that. So what I did is, after Monique, I hired a few more people, and it's hiring is not fun. But you have to do it if you want to make more money and not be capped. And you got to listen to mentors. You can't lose their respect, or else they'll stop mentoring you. So I started hiring. That made a big difference. But I got stuck again because now I had a small office, and I only had space for like 3 people. So we were kind of tight. So then I told Syl, hey, we got to take another risk. And I said, well, we need to get a bigger office. So we were in an office by the Standard. I don't know if you guys know the Standard in West Hollywood, Saddle Ranch. So we had a tiny space. So our office was kind of like this box right here. So Monique was there, Syl was there, and I was just like right here. And we had a view we picked the view, and that's another story. We were gonna get the cheapest office by the receptionist desk. It was a satellite office kind of thing. So we ended up going to the penthouse because I'm always thinking like, let's get the best. And Syl kind of levels me most of the time, but I always get my way though. And we moved. So I told Syl, you know what? My dream is to have an office right in front of Sunset Plaza. And because I saw it watching Entourage, I saw Sunset Plaza. I would see Ferraris, I would see Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, I would see successful people. I went to Equinox because of that. So I told Syl, let's move to Sunset Plaza, and then let's get this office, because I would jog around there, and I saw office for lease. And at the time, I was like, damn, that's impossible. Because everything is impossible and hard in the beginning, but I visualized, I told Syl, let's just get it. So I called the lady, and she said, the lease is, you could get this office, it was like 1,500 square feet, and it was going to be like $6,000 a month. So I said, that's not that bad, Syl, and it'll be like a dream come true. And we were paying $1,500 a month where we were at. So I said, let's just do it. So we did it. So now we have a huge office with only 3 people. And it's like a big office, big box. And so Syl, me, and Monica are in like one corner, and the whole office is empty. And Syl's like, well, and I said, well, now we have a problem. We have to fill it up. So we start like hiring people, and then that's another problem because not every hire is the best. But we hired people, we filled it up, and then I said, Syl, well, let's hope, like we filled it up. Now it's good again. Let's take another risk. So we opened the Ambience Realty, so we get another office space in the same place, Sunset Plaza. We opened that company, and then we have no agents. And we have another problem, so I told Syl, well, let's start hiring agents, because she was the only agent. And then we start hiring agents, and then because of the 10X Growth Con in Miami, I said, well, it seems to work. So let's do the same thing. Let's call it Drive. And then she said, well, it's missing a letter. And I say, Driven. And I'm like, okay, let's do Driven. So then we opened that company, and then she's like, we don't have a venue, we don't have speakers, I'm like, well, okay, that's another problem. So let's call up Grant, see if he speaks. He said, yeah, I'll speak. I like you, Albert. This is my fee and everything. So we pay Grant, and we pay the Ritz. So we overcommitted. I mean, we committed, and then we needed to figure everything out. So now we're like, okay, so who else do we add? Then through Grant, I met Brad. So I'm like, oh, we could tell Brad. So we're like, hey, Brad, you want to speak? And Brad's like, sure. So we get Brad, and then Elena, I made friends with Elena, so Elena spoke. Then obviously I had to speak, and then I just start asking people like, well, you want to speak at Driven? Let's do this, let's do that. And then everything, like one of the biggest tips that I could give you is be different. Have you guys been to we don't call this conference. It's an event. Conferences are usually 3 days, and you have three great speakers that you want to listen to, and everybody else is a filler. That's how I see it. And I don't want to do that. It takes too much effort and time. Now, if you want to have a conference for 3 days, and you want to do it like 10X, like Driven, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to be really expensive. Now, if you just want to rent a ballroom and not do anything and just have speakers speak, then it won't cost you a lot. But conferences, I have to sit through the whole. Conferences are more of a hangover recovery. Everybody goes to conferences just to drink and to recover the next morning. So everybody's late in the beginning, and everybody's just getting better, and then you get ready for the speaker. So when I wanted to Driven, I wanted to have cars that inspire people. I wanted to have the best lighting, the best visual, the best sound system. I wanted to have bars like outside. I don't know if the bars are out yet. They're out. And has anybody gotten a drink yet? Oh, it's good. It's kind of early though. So we have that. Then we're gonna have the after party thing. We're gonna have the meet and greet for lunch. Even Brad hasn't gotten a drink? No? So be different. The mortgage guys, we do it differently. Like I said, we coach our clients on how to invest in 4 units. We don't just tell them, here's the pre-approval, you qualify for $400,000. We give them options, and we tell them, you know what? But do you know anything about investing? Do you know that you could get 4 units with only 3.5% down? If you make $50K and have $20,000 saved up, you could buy a 4 unit that's going to pay itself. Tenants pay down the mortgage, and if you keep it long enough, you'll be a millionaire in 4 or 5 years guaranteed. But most people don't know that. Most people think you got to be a millionaire to invest, and you don't. You don't. When I got my property, I only had $3,000 in my bank account. I'm going to get into that, though. I don't want to skip my stuff. So one thing is when I had I don't know if you guys heard this story, but when I was 32, I made a goal, like a promise, because I promised my dad. So I told Syl, hey, when I was 32, I said by 35, I'm going to buy my dream car, a Ferrari. And it was just a goal, a 3-year goal, which seemed realistic. I wasn't quite ready for it. So what I did is I had my assistant. So this was another assistant that used to work for me. The only good thing she did for me was buy me this fake Ferrari key from Amazon. So I carried this key with me the entire time. Whenever I went to dinner with Syl, I had it on my keychain, so I would put it on the table just so everybody could see it. And then when I would work out, I would put the key like on the floor, and I would work out, and people would walk, and sometimes like girls would see the key, and they were like, all of a sudden, I was like a bit better looking. So it brought good things, but it also brought, attention that I didn't want. And just getting this key, I got this key, and it was my 3-year goal. It took me 2 months just by getting this key. And when I reached that goal, I immediately aimed for a bigger goal, because it's not, a car is nice and everything, but it was a dream. I love Ferraris, and that's why I have Ferraris. I don't have Lambos. I love Ferraris, and that's why I have them. A Rolls Royce, I like it, but I got that car because my wife is such a horrible driver. So I told her, when we have a baby, I need to get you a big, boxy car, because you need to be safe and the baby has to be safe. And that's the only reason why we got that car, because if you go back to my Instagram story, I said when we have a baby, I got to get her a safe car. So that's the only reason why we have that car. I don't know if Syl doesn't like to talk about that, but she's pretty bad, like driving. Now, that's why that happened, but courage will take you a long way. To speak on stage, you need courage. To go on lives, you need courage. And I had to get courage because I had to fight for my life from the 1st grade till the 12th grade. And you guys, if you have courage, you'll get really far in life. You'll get really far in life. You can't imagine how many dreams just get cut short because of the courage. I used to sneak into gyms just to work out and to take showers. And Syl did the same thing with me. And Equinox was the gym that I used to go. When I got back to the Ford Explorer, it broke down. So then I didn't even have a Ford Explorer to sleep in. So I had to ask my parents to let me borrow that red Civic, which was my college car, because I needed transportation. And one of the windows was broken, I remember at the time. So my dad would kind of fix it, like, the Mexican way. Plastic bag but I did it anyways. I didn't give up. But so what I would do is I would drive to Equinox, park like a couple blocks away in the meter, and just put money in the meter and sprint to the gym just so nobody would see me. And then once I got to the gym, I needed to find a way to sneak in. So I would sneak into the gym, and Syl and me snuck in there for I snuck in there for 2 months, Syl. You snuck in there for almost like 6 or 7 months. Yeah, you did. You did. So I would do that because of the nice cars that were there, the people that were successful, that own businesses. I wanted to be around success because success attracts success. And that's when I was fighting through, and that's when I ran into the audiobook, Sell to Survive, and that's when I went to Cancun. But that was a year later. I started doing good. Every year was better, better, better. And then when I got to 300K, I got stuck. I went to that seminar, and that's what happened after that. So now what I want to do is I want to show you guys after I started making that money, what build millions of dollars that all of you could do. Like all of you could become millionaires, I promise, in less than 4 years if you do what I'm going to show you right now. You have the slides? So, would all of you, who wants to have a life where, me and Syl could travel whenever we want. We were supposed to go on the trip after Driven, but I think we're going to have to wait a week, right? Because we like Dorado Beach Hotel in Puerto Rico. That's where she wants to go. And It's closed because of the hurricane. They're still repairing it, but they opened October 1st, so we're going to stick around and then go October 1st. But to us, we live life, like to us, work is life and life is work. Because when people say money is not important, I mean, it really is. It's like oxygen. And Syl got sick 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure if it was because she was maybe stressed out or I don't know. I was scared, and then negative people start saying, oh, she's gonna die, she has cancer, she has this, she has that. They start over-analyzing everything. And I told Syl, we don't have to do this or hear this shit. We have our doctor. So it's a Sunday, and I don't like seeing her in pain. So I called Dr. Crane. I don't know if you guys know Dr. Crane, but he's the same doctor for Elena. He's the same doctor for Kim Kardashian. He's the doctor that delivered Italia. So I call him, since we built a good relationship, he doesn't even take insurance. So if you guys have insurance, insurance does not cover the best doctors. So he doesn't take insurance. So I call him, and he leaves it's his Sunday off day. He comes, he says, you know what, meet me at the office. I'll check Syl. He saw Syl, fixed her. It was nothing bad. It was just simple infection, and she had the peace of mind. You can't give your family members peace of mind if you're broke. So money gives you freedom. It gives you choices to help more people. So when your passive income is more than your work income, that's when you have a great life. And that's what we like to do when we're traveling. We're still working, but to me, that's happiness. To me, that's my life. So if you want to skip over to the next slide. Oh, I need to click it, right? So my first investment property was a 3-unit property. This was 2013. The date's going to be on the next page, but this property made me $426,000 in 53 months, so 4 years and 5 months. And I'm going to show you the steps. I can't give you all the details here because it's more. There's a lot of step by step to get all this done. But I have my Driven Academy that you guys could get if you want. I'll show it to you later. Can we go to the next slide? So this property was a 3-unit property. So those are the rents. See, total rents are $3,975. Mortgage payment is $1,866, and I'm collecting $2,100 a month. That's a yearly income of $25,000. Down payment is only $9,300, 3.5% down payment. So when people tell you, hey, that it's too much, it's too risky, I mean, I don't know if it's risky to collect $2,000 extra a month by doing nothing. And your tenants are paying down your mortgage, and your property is going up in value. Like, where's the risk? Oh, a toilet broke. Oh, we need to remodel a room. You're making $2,000 a month. Fix it. Pay somebody to fix it. So this property was bought for $266K May 8th, 2013. I sold most of my properties last year and liquidated millions. This was just my first property. And in you see the 4 years and 5 months, how much money it made. Why? Because the loan balance when I bought it was $356 because I put $9,000 down to the $266 price. So in 4 years and 5 months, tenants paid me $111,000, which reduced my mortgage, and they paid the mortgage down. They paid the mortgage down by $21,000. So when I sold it, I owed $123. I sold it for $550, so I profited $400 and something. I forget, but this was my first property. So let's go to the next slide. I can just have you guys do this for me. It saves me time. So this was our life when I got the 3 units. See, I was happy, and Syl was sad. This was a pre-marriage. So I was happy because, hey, I could get a property, an investment property with only 3.5%. By the way, it's an honor to have Patrick Bet-David. Can you guys give him an applause? For those of you that haven't heard the story yet, Patrick Bet-David is one of the 2 men that changed my life. And I was talking about how I have 4 businesses, all 7 figures plus, because of you. So Patrick is one of a kind. You're going to hear a lot of diamonds coming out of his mouth later. But it's an honor to have Patrick Bet-David watch my presentation. Thank you. So this was pre-marriage. See, I'm happy, still sad because we're not married. But I'm happy because we could do 3.5% down. We could leverage. So Syl was like, let's get married, let's get married. But if you get married, you need 20, you only qualify for one FHA loan. So when you're not married, I could get a FHA loan and I could tell Syl, hey, you get an FHA loan and then we get married. So if you guys are thinking about getting married, don't. First get a 4-unit and then tell your girlfriend or your fiance, get a 4-unit also, and then we'll get married. Now you have eight rents. So let's go to the next slide. So this was post-marriage. So now I'm sad and now Syl's happy. But Syl got her 4-unit, right? So now she's happy. But now we don't qualify for FHA anymore. So now we have to do 25% down, which is not 9,000, 10,000, or 15,000. Now it's hundreds of thousands. So now, I mean, with all the money you're making from the first 3-unit and the first 4-unit, it's easier to save more money to get 25% down for another property. So let's go down. Let's go to the next slide, please. So Syl's first investment property, a 4-unit, made us $285,000 in 36 months. This is how. Next. So these are the numbers for Syl's 4-unit. She bought December 29, 2014, sold for $585 in November 1st, 2017. So the 4 rents made $41.40. Payment was $26.51. This payment includes taxes, insurance, principal, interest. So the passive income was $14.89. Yearly income $17,000. So the down payment was only $13,000. The loan balance was reduced to $299 after the tenants paid down, the passive income paid down $53,000, and the tenants paid $21,000 down from your mortgage balance. Remember, tenants pay down your mortgage, property increases, doubles every 10 years, appreciates, and you make passive income. So if you guys, maybe some people don't have money to come to an event to learn, if you make $1,400 a month with only $13,000 down, wouldn't you want to save $13,000 so you could make $14,000 a month? You'll make your money, you'll make 130% ROI. You're putting $13,000 down, you're making almost 18 grand. See, that's the secret. That's how I'm able to have the lifestyle that I have. That's how I'm able to pay people big money. That's how we have everything that we need because of this, because of real estate. So let's go to the next one. So combine these 2 properties alone, and these are just the first 2 that we got. These 2 properties alone made us $712,000 in 4 years and 5 months. We had many more properties like this, but we had to put 25%. So we sold all of them right now, the peak of the market, and that's how we got a lot of money to invest in bigger deals now and move on to commercial and have like hundreds of units and so on. So is Brian Truman here? Where's Brian? Brian's my agent from Tennessee, by the way. He's the one that's helped me in Tennessee get property. So if you guys, if anybody has already like a good amount of money and wants to invest in commercial bigger deals, he has all the connections in Tennessee. So feel free to reach out to Brian Truman. And Jana. I don't mean to forget about Jana. Jana's Brian's wife. Amazing, amazing people. When we went to Tennessee, they picked us up, took us out to eat, and they gave us the best service ever. Can we go to the next slide? So I can't talk too much on this because it's not really, I just can't talk about it, but I have pictures. So once you convince your girlfriend to buy a 4-unit before you get married, then you get married, now because you can't get more than 1 FHA loan at the time for 4 units. So then you find a buddy, and you do it again. So let's say Brad is my buddy. So I tell Brad, hey, Brad, you make so much money, you don't have time to invest, you qualify. You know what? Just get a 4-unit, and you just coach your buddy, and you tell him, get a 4-unit. You only need $15,000 down. Buy a 4-unit. It's gonna make you $1,000 or $1,500 a month in net passively, and you don't own a home yet, so you could buy a 4-unit used FHA. So you leverage, no marriage required with a buddy. I mean, for the most part. And then what happens? Then your buddy gets a house, and then your other buddy gets a house, and then you could tell your buddy to find another buddy, and your other buddy finds another buddy, and you just keep using FHA leverage because the ROI is big on that. And even if the house is not making you any money, if you keep it for 10 years, it'll double in price. Who cares if it's breaking even? Keep it for 10 months. It's better than keeping your money in the bank. So you buy a property, and it's paying itself. It's not making you that much money, but now you have an investment that you keep for 10 years, or if you keep it for 30, it'll be paid off, and you'll be a millionaire. Who knows how much the properties will be worth in 20 years. So next one. So I want to offer this. This is my real estate investing course. I'm going to give, usually it's 12 months, real estate investing course. So it has all the steps by steps because it's too much detail. I can't go into it right now because we have a lunch coming up. And Patrick's going to meet us for lunch. Grant's almost here. Ty should be in the house. I don't know is Ty here? Ty's probably going to meet us at Wolfgang. So the real estate course, it's $69.97. We're going to do lifetime access. And we're going to stack it with a few more options. So we're going to include the VIP driven ticket for next year. That's going to be included. We're going to include the private mastermind group that I'm going to do, where it's a 12-month mastermind group. So you're connected with me for an entire year. And we every month we go over like marketing, business, operations, training, real estate. We have different courses every month. That's a $25,000 value. I'm going to do my AP workshop, which the AP workshop is going to be at the Montage in Beverly Hills, or it might even be at my place, the 10,000 building. I'm not sure yet, but we're going to meet, and it's going to be a small group. So it's going to be up close and personal, and it's only going to be a room with about 100, 150 people, and it's going to be up close and personal. I'll bring my marketing team. Maybe I'll have a guest. And we'll go over all the questions, Q&A, and it's going to be a full weekend of just knowledge and sharing the information. So the total value of that is $36,994. Today, a driven special, if you want to get it, it's $7,997. And if you text 96,000, if you text driven to that 96,000, it'll give you the step-by-steps on how to get that. But, I mean, just the real estate alone is worth everything. So this includes the private mastermind group for a whole year and the AP workshop, which is an up-close and personal. All that's included for this price. And you get a VIP ticket for next year's event for free. And if you want to get the course by itself, that's that. But let me go back to this one. How do you put it back? How do you put it back? So for the first 100 people that get it, just leave it right here, that's fine. The VIP ticket will be upgraded to a super VIP ticket for the first 100. So it's $7,997, and you could also go to my merchant bag over there, my what is it called? The merch table for the mortgage guys. It's right here. And you could get more information. And if you just want to get the real estate course for $900, it's $997. So you could go over there and get it. Or you could also go to my website. Okay, so I want to close this out by just sharing the story of courage. When I used to live in Sierra Madre, and Syl was a tough cookie. So Syl, I got her number. I met her at In-N-Out. And I thought because I was at the time, I was pretty good in sales. Thanks to a guy that's just walking in here. You guys know Grant Cardone? So to me, it's an honor. Like I was talking about Pat, it's an honor to have these two guys, like Grant and Patrick both changed my life. We shared the 2014 story of Cancun. Remember that? And started investing in investments, apartments. So let me share this story about Syl. I drove, after In-N-Out, it took me 8 months to get her on a date. And I would follow up every month after month after month after month. And then she finally agreed to go out on a date with me. And this was 2008 when I met her. I still had the S550. This was before the market crashed. I mean, right when the market crashed, but before I got repossessed and foreclosed on the 2 single-family homes. And I had $40 in my debit card, which was my dad's debit card. They closed all my credit cards, and I had $80,000 of collections, and my homes were in foreclosure, and I had my S550 still. So I picked her up in the S550, so she probably thought I was like balling, but I wasn't. I was like super broke. I had $40 in my dad's debit card because he would let me borrow the debit card so that I could use it because I didn't have any money. All my credit was shot. And so I picked her up, and I was really nervous. And I don't really get nervous anymore, but I was nervous. So I made a drink before leaving the house, and then I made another drink, and that was as I went to pick her up. And I like being transparent, so if you guys, like, I don't want to filter anything, but that's what I was doing. I remember that vividly. I had a drink, and I was driving my S550 to pick her up. I had $40 in my debit card, which was my dad's. And I didn't want to get a drink there because $40 is not a lot. And what if she thinks I'm a baller and starts ordering, like, expensive stuff? So I picked her up. I took her to a sushi place because I figured I won't drink. I'll give her some of that wasabi, and then it'll kill the taste, and she won't want to have anything to eat. So we go to Kabuki, right on Foothill in Pasadena, and I didn't take her to, like, Benihana or anything like that because I knew that was expensive. So I took her to Kabuki, and we clicked. I was kind of chubby, right, Syl? So I was chubby. I had, like, I looked different. Any way you guys could put that picture, Johnny, of the date? That was my first date with Syl. If you guys could find it. So I tell Syl, hey, this is the best avocado you'll taste. So I give her some wasabi. She's never been to a sushi place, or she didn't know what wasabi was, so she loves avocado guacamole. So she gets a big chunk of wasabi, and she puts it in her mouth. And she gets red, starts crying, and she's like, what the? And this was our first date. But I did that because that meant she would have one drink, she would get a little loose, and then she wouldn't eat that much after having the wasabi. So it ended up working. And I mean, obviously now we're here. But when the bill came, I was barely able to pay that because the bill was like $38 and some cents because I didn't get any drinks, I didn't eat anything, I just got like something very light. And then from there on, I winged it, I just faked it for like a couple months, and the market hit hard, and that's when I lost everything, and that's when she stayed in the Ford Explorer with me for 2 months. So that was that story, so thank you, Syl. Now, I just want to close it out by thanking my dad, my mom, and my brother for everything they've done. My parents especially for taking care of me and my brother and being the greatest role models. And Sylvia and Natalia for just filling me with joy and love every day. Like every day when I wake up at 3 or 4 or whatever, when I don't sleep well, like they just feed me that extra fuel that I need. And everybody that's part of the mortgage guys, everybody like really appreciate that. Ambiance Realty, now Driven Enterprises. Like I mentioned before, because of Grant and Pat, we own a lot of real estate now. We have 4 companies, all over 7 figures. We have this event, and we're blessed. We're blessed, and I just want to help y'all do the same thing that we've done, and that's why I put together this lineup. And most importantly, I want to thank the most important people in my life, are every single one of you, like everybody, because without you, I wouldn't be here, and you guys inspire me. You guys inspire me to be better every day, and that's my fuel. So really appreciate all of you. From the bottom of my heart, all of you are the reason why I'm here and why Syl and me are here, and our inspiration is to inspire all of you. So thank you very much.
Walk it, back up, talk it, walk it, walk it.